Alright, Craigsters, welcome to our math lesson 8. You're on pages 193, 194. Okay, here we go, let's start. Alright, so some of you have been asking what AM and PM mean, and so this lesson we're going to start talking about it. So AM stands for ante meridiem, which means after the afternoon. Okay. PM stands for post meridiem. They come from the Latin words before, which is ante, and post means after. Meridiem means noon. So that's how we get before noon and afternoon. Pretty cool, huh? Alright. So looking at this, we're at 1:30 p.m. to 4:47 p.m. How much time has passed? And how did you find that out? So when we begin looking at elapsed time, we want to first look at our minutes. Okay, first look at our minutes, and we see 47 minutes and 30 minutes, which is really nice for us because we can just subtract our minutes. Okay? But for whatever reason, our 47 or something like 27, I cannot do 27 minus 30. Okay, that does not work out. So, I would have to do something else. But looking at the minutes can be the quickest way first. So I could just subtract and then subtract the hours. I can also work at it on a number line. So this number line, as you can see, goes up by increments of 1 hour. So I go from 1:30 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3:30 is another hour, and so on. Okay? So whenever we look at a number line for a graph or time or anything else, you want to first notice how far is it between each segment. And in this case, again, it's 1 hour between each of those dashes. Okay? Now the 47 is floating down here, and the 47 should be put to the left or to the right? Think about that in your head. Should it be to the left or to the right? Very good. Most of you said to the right, and it's going to be pretty close to that 4:30 mark. Okay? So I'm going to put a line right here to mark my 4:47. And on the number line, to figure out the elapsed time between 1:30 and 4:47, I can count by the hour. So if I start at 1:30, I can count 1:30 to 2:30, which is 1 hour, 2:30 to 3:30, which is another hour, and 3:30 to 4:30, which is a third hour. So I have 3 hours total down here. Now if I counted another hour, I'd be all the way at 5:30, which is past my 4:47. So I don't want to go all the way over to the 5:30 again. Okay? So I'm at 4:30, and I need to go from 4:30 to 4:47. So I know if I add 10 more minutes, for example, I'm going to get to 4:40. Then from 4:40 to 4:47, I just need to add another 7 minutes. For many of you, you could have just added the 17 minutes right away, and that would have been perfect. So the total elapsed time between 1:30 and 4:47 is 3 hours, and then 10 plus 7 is 17 minutes. Okay? In your book, it asked us on page 161 to find the elapsed time, and we talked about that yesterday. Elapsed time meant the time that has passed between one event and the next, okay, or the difference in time between one event and another event. So to start, my starting time was 4 p.m. post meridian, which means post noon, so that's afternoon. My end time is 7 p.m. So something you could be doing at 4 o'clock might be a basketball practice or piano recital or something like that. You might be going over to a friend's house for that amount of time. And you want to know how long you're going to be gone. Okay, to figure out the elapsed time, or the time that has passed, we'll need to find the difference. So if I just have zeros in my minutes, that's the best possible case scenario, or the best possible way to start, because I can just cross out these zeros and ask myself, what's the difference between the 7 and the 4? Difference, again, means subtract. So 7 minus 4 would be 3. So the difference between 7 o'clock and 4 o'clock would be 3 hours. Right? Let's look at our next one. So I'm looking now at 7:45 a.m. anti-meridium, which means before noon. Meridium means noon. Ante means before. So 7:45 to 8:15 a.m. Okay? It's important that I look at my label here because both are a.m. So if I'm going from 7:45 a.m. to 8:15 p.m., that's going to be a much different answer. So when we look at our elapsed time, it's really, really important that we pay attention to, is it a.m. or p.m.? Is there a difference, or are they the same? Okay, so in this case, they're both a.m., which is good. Okay, so 7:45 to 8:15. If I start at 7:45, okay, I'm starting here at 7, and then 45, and I'm going to 8:15. I know that if I go up from the 9 to the 12, I just went 15 minutes. Okay. Now if I'm going to 8:15, then my minute hand is going to come down to the 3. My hour hand is going to be a little bit above the 8 now. Okay. And then I see I just went from the 12 to the 3, which is another 15 minutes. So the 15 minutes plus 15 minutes is going to be 30 minutes. So the elapsed time is 30 minutes. The next one, 2:17 p.m. to 7:17 p.m. Again, they're both p.m., which is nice for us. And then looking at the minutes, 17 and 17, which is awesome because they're the same. So I can cancel those out. I can cancel those out because they're the same. It's like 17 minus 17 is 0, 99 minus 99 is 0, 100 minus 100 is 0. They'll just cancel each other out. So I'm not going to have any minutes here. The elapsed time is only going to be hours. Okay? So now I need to find the difference between 2 and 7. Again, difference meaning I subtract. 7 minus 2 can be 5. So my elapsed time is 5 hours. 5 hours. If I show this on the clock, I want to go 2:17 all the way to 7:17, right? So I'm going to cross the clock once, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. 2 plus 5, 7. And I end on 7:17, so I don't have to add any more minutes here. That wouldn't make any sense. I can just leave it at 7:17 because adding the 5 hours lands me back on the 17, which is where my time was back on this problem. Okay? We're at 5 hours. Next, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I notice now I'm going from a.m. Okay, like you said, I'm going from a.m. to p.m. which means I'm crossing over noon, which is 12 o'clock p.m. So again, we can count in our head It's another strategy we could do. I could get my fingers up. I can count from 11 to 2. So I could say 11 to 12 is 1 hour. 12 to 1 is another hour. And 1 to 2 is a third hour. Okay, so why don't you do that with me? You can put one hand in the air, in a fist, and say 11 to 12 is 1 hour. And you can show one finger. 12 to 1 is another hour. Show your next finger. 1 to 2 is another hour. And show your third finger. And we end up at 2 o'clock. So that would make 3 hours. So the difference, or the elapsed time, again, the elapsed time is the difference between one point in time and another, or between one event and another. The elapsed time is just the difference. So the elapsed time between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. is 3 hours. Right? The next one might be a little more tricky, and that's okay. So I look at 11:55 a.m. and 4:25 p.m. So again, I'm crossing over noon. Okay, I'm crossing over noon. So if I look at 11:55 a.m., I know that if I add 5 minutes, that's going to be 12 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going to circle this plus 5 because I know I added those 5 minutes. Now, going 12 to 4, it leaves out this 25 minutes, but I can add that later. So going 12 to 4 is going to be 4 hours. I can go 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. So that's going to be 4 hours. And again, I'm adding that 4 hours, so I'm going to circle that plus 4 hours. And then going from 4 to 4:25, I'm going to add 25 minutes. Okay? So this is kind of like a shortened number line that we can use to help us solve these elapsed time problems. So I can add the 5 minutes plus the 25 minutes, which is going to be 30 minutes, plus the 4 hours. So I have 4 hours and 30 minutes. 4 hours and 30 minutes. On our number 2, we're finding the end time. We're going to find the end time, which is different. When we did our problems for number 1, we knew our start time, and we already knew the end time. But we didn't know the elapsed time. That's what we were figuring out. But now we know the elapsed time. And so when I see elapsed time, that's how much time I'm adding. So above elapsed time, you can write adding. And I'm adding the elapsed time to whatever over at my starting time. So right where this first column is, where this line is right here, I can put a plus sign. And I can put these plus signs all the way down, because if I know how long an event lasted and what time I started, then I can figure out what time it ended. By starting at my start time and adding how long it was, I can figure out my end time. So for this one, I can start at 1 p.m., add 2 hours, and end at 3 p.m.